And we're live. Good evening, folks, peoples, all the people that are wondering about how we can fix the dating market, save the West, save these women from themselves, save you men from a life of sexless slavery where you get divorced and screwed over, cheated on, whatever. What are we going to do about this, guys? The dating market, right? The dating market is trash. It's absolute trash. Everybody who goes out there who's trying to date, pick up on chicks and all that stuff complains all over the place. You see women complaining everywhere, men complaining everywhere about how crappy it is. So we're going to fix it today. We got the solutions to your problems. All right. We got met my chick on Bumble. We still joke that we met on a hookup app. 4 years later, so I guess true love can be found on dating apps, apparently, right? That's good, though. That's good. All right, so we're going to talk about what to do about it. Because a lot of people complain about how women are today. It's pretty you like that thumbnail? The answer isn't to actually use the nail gun like an American Psycho. That's of course me and my sense of humor at it again. Hopefully you guys can appreciate it. And someone's not going to actually meet up with some chick and try to use a nail gun on her. That's a thing in a movie. It's not real. Okay. Don't know anymore with people out there and what they like to do. But the things, though, okay, the things. What can we do? Well, first thing is we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it today on my small channel in the chat room. We're going to do it. First thing, actually, though, is to stop trying to fix it. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, stop trying to fix the dating market. Stop trying to save the West. Okay, to crusade out there and try to change things on some bigger, massive scale. It's like political activism or whatever, but you're not running for office. You're going to run for office to change how women behave nowadays and in the United States, or how, men treat women. Like, no. Okay, no. All right. Saving the West is for losers. I'm going to say it. It's controversial. Some of you aren't going to like it. That's okay. Some of you are not going to like this at all. This whole talk we're about to have. Saving the West is for losers. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay. I'm not saying that you should accept the crappy values and the frame that is being placed out there by social conditioning. But what I'm saying is that people who try to crusade against some greater cause instead of worrying about their own life are usually taking kind of a loser's way out. Unless you have some sort of influence besides your Twitter account to make an impact or difference on a larger scale, wasting time and ruminating and bitching, which I know we sometimes do on, YouTube channels, but, wasting your own life, though, other than just for the sake of conversation, putting a lot of energy into bitching about the way that things are, or the way that women are today. All right. Just for the sake of it, not actually making impact or any sort of substantial changes anywhere. It is a loser's way out. All right. Because what's happening there is people do that. What I tend to see is people do, they focus on some bigger thing outside of themselves so that they don't have to focus on fixing the shit that's wrong in their own lives. If dating sucks, that's a you problem. Now, I know that there are reasons that we can look at, you know, that that could point to ideas of it maybe being harder in some ways than it was in the past, but I don't even know that that's a reality or a real statement. And I say that because everything's just sort of scaled upwards with the internet. So like bad behavior certainly scaled, and women have an inability to commit with the current social paradigm and run a relationship and be happy. I think that's pretty normal. I mean, I think that that's a real thing. But I also think that information on how to overcome that, information on how to do better, has also scaled, right? And not only that, is your access to women as well as a woman's access to men is now global, right? You have so many more options with a global sexual marketplace than you did if you grew up in middle America in a small town with a high school with about 400 people in it, and then your mating selection was just who you had around you. And then people who were brave enough to try to go to another city and start a life, they were the ones who would end up having more options. But in the past, it was harder to expand those options. Nowadays, you can expand options and you can expand opportunity like you never had the ability to before. And so although the dating market is, there's a lot more BS that's out there for sure, and there's a lot more bad behaviors that is out there. And I would say from both, men and women, you just got to make sure that you're not guilty of the bad behavior as a dude. But with that though, there's just more opportunity. So it kind of evens itself out. If you're not having fun in dating, if you're not having a good time and enjoying yourself with women, whether it turns to sex or whether it stays casual into sexual casual, or whether it grows into something long term or not, whether it ends in a breakup or not, you should be having overall really good experiences. All right. And if you're not, as a dude, if you're not, then there's something that's lacking in your ability, in your game, in your skills, or something that's lacking in your SMV. There could be something lacking in opportunity, but that's the easiest one to fix. Okay. So if you're focused on trying to fix the dating market outside of yourself, you're focused on the wrong thing. Okay. Instead, ask yourself the question, how can I use it? So, girls be girls. They are the way that they are. Okay. And the social conditioning is what it is. So instead of asking yourself, how can I be mad about this and wish that things were different? You got to ask yourself, what can I do to use this to my advantage? People who are successful in anything ask themselves usually that question. When something of an obstacle presents itself or a hardship, okay, once you're over that initial shock of it, you get and as quickly as you can, you get into a mental framework of how can I use this? All right. There's women out there that, will have whatever it is you're looking for. If you're looking for casual sex, one night lays, that sort of thing, there's women out there who are going to be looking for that too. If you're looking for long-term relationship, family, that sort of thing, there's women out there that can facilitate that. Instead of worrying about how screwed up things are, because things are screwed up and we can talk about that. But if we're talking about it, are we talking about it to bitch, or are we talking about it so we can use it? That's the thing. We want to be able to use it to our advantage. Okay. How can we use it to build the life that we want? Women are a certain way. How do we use that to our advantage? How do we use that to build a life? You don't think that there aren't women out there that would love to step outside of the matrix and the rock and a hard place that they end up finding themselves in when they're in that global sexual marketplace? You don't think that they wouldn't want to sidestep and get rid of all of that shit if they feel like they're with the guy that's the guy that they want to be with? Of course. Of course they do. All right. They just don't know how. They haven't been trained how, and a lot of them are too, unfortunately, too arrogant to be able to do it. And they'll never be happy. There's ones that are just too stupid and they'll never be able to be happy. But there are women out there that are capable, and maybe they just don't see it or not sure what to do. They they haven't had a dude who can demonstrate, you know, that male leadership in a way that's attractive for them to want to follow that guy and sidestep all this BS. And so when you're that dude and you're patient, okay, you're going to be just fine. And you need to worry about that. Worried about your own sexual market value, worry about your own opportunities, worry about your own skill sets. Those are the three things that'll get you what you want with women. And if you're having a good time and influencing the others around you, even if you're just doing it through just being you and people seeing that as an example, then other people start having a good time too, maybe, or start seeing a different way of doing things. Okay. And that's how you fix things on a bigger scale, as you focus on what you can change and influence. You don't worry about the rest. And so the first thing is to stop bitching about the dating market and to stop trying to, I don't know, change things in that sense. Don't worry about yourself and worry about your circles, what you're doing, people that you can influence. And that's the best you can do. So that's the first thing. Okay. And nothing's going to change unless you start changing yourself and changing what your results are. All right. And so, and with that, how do you change results? Okay. You're going to change it partially through skills. But before I even get into skill, it's just something that occurred to me not too long ago. I thought we should talk about it. And this is number two, why the dating market's so screwed up. And how you can sidestep all that shit is that you're too damn goal oriented. All right. We talk about all this crap on the internet, my channel, everybody's channel. What do we talk about? High value man. Let's be a high value man and set goals and do all this stuff. Hey, man, do all that stuff. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying be a loser, But I mean, we're talking about the dating market, though. Losers get laid all the time. I mean, look at the pickup artist world on the internet. A lot of them are pretty much losers or recovering losers. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And they get women. You know what I mean? It's like, look around you. Go hang out. Think of your high school, and then think of your college, and then think of your current place of business and social circles now. Think about your local bar, tavern, and watch all the girls that are hanging around and hanging off some loser's arm. All right. Think about all the losers that got laid in high school by chicks who got into their own little competition with themselves and saw this, loser as some sort of prize. Think about all the, goofy dorks, goofy jackass dudes in college that used to get laid all the time. Maybe you're one of those guys, right? I've certainly been that, that guy before, not so much in college, right? Think about the guy at the bar or whatever that, some chick just decides to go with. I mean, is she picking the high value man? No, she's not. No, she's not. You know what I mean? Be a high value dude for you. And certainly being a high value guy will give you better options with women. I'm not denying all that. But you guys get so goal oriented about this stuff that it's like you're treating these other human beings like they're things and like they're transactional. We say to ourselves, and we talk about on a sort of a men's advice platform to help you guys out, to watch out, right, for that woman who's hooking up with you for transactional reasons. But you sort of turn that thing into a transactional relationship or an interaction yourself in a sense, because you're not actually just making a connection with this other person. You're trying to get a notch count. You're trying to get a lay. You're trying to get a good plate. You're trying to get, in the interaction, you're trying to weigh out, what does she do for me? You know what I mean? Does she cook me dinner? Okay. And it's like, what things does she bring me? And what, can I get a deal where she brings me the most things? Because I'm a high value man and I bring her the least things. And that way I win this interaction. It's very pathological actually, when you think about it. And it screws your game up. It doesn't help you. It makes you guys suck with women. All right. And it makes the dating market no fun. Okay. It makes it like no fun at all. The reason why those losers a lot of times did well with women, the reasons why I can relate it to my own life, whether I was a loser or a winner, depending on what part of my life you're looking at. All right. The reason I was doing well is because I didn't give a fuck about any of that shit. I didn't care. I didn't care about any of it. I wasn't having a goal. There's no goal in mind. Some girl didn't want to sleep with me. I didn't give a crap. If some girl did want to sleep with me and I thought she was cute, then cool, we just bang. Who cares? Right? And that attitude is what gets you what you want. That's the mindset. Because it's an interesting thing. In order to get what you want in the dating market, you have to stop at some point making it a goal oriented event. Because making a connection with another person and having a human experience with another human being is got to be absent of your goals in a way. All right. It has to be some sort of, you're having an experience, and that experience isn't the goal. And at some point, you lose your ability to seduce and the ability to um, have that great experience. Because see, what you're trying to do, right, is you're trying to have a good experience, and that involves creating a good experience too for you, the other person, right? How do you do that? Well, that's an emotional event that involves a human social connection. If you treat it like it's a transaction and like it's a measured thing, I mean, that's first of all very pathological. It's very narcissistic. Okay. At the very least, could be any of the cluster Bs. Okay. You're sort of, it's very antisocial personality, like very almost psychopathic, depending on where you're taking it, where you're sort of just everything's a calculated event to get something out of this girl. If that's how you're approaching things, there's guys, I'll tell you what, on the internet right now, if they hear me say this, they won't understand at all what I'm talking about. Because there are guys on the internet that I measure are these pathological people. And they're telling you how to pick up on women. And they're telling you how to calculate all this stuff. The enjoyment for them, okay, isn't a human connection because they're not wired that way. But unless you're part of this, 2, 3, maybe 4% of the population that that is psychopathic in a sense, unless you're part of that, all right, and cannot make a connection with another human being, or with, if that's you, I really don't want to, I'm not really talking to you much here. The rest of you, most of you guys, that you want the human connection. If you're frustrated, by the way, upset, or not happy and all that stuff with, well, you're probably not that 3 or 4% with no ability to connect with someone, because those guys don't care if they connect with somebody or not. It's all a game to them. Well, essentially, and that's why they do well, right? It needs to become a game for you, but you won't be able to do it like a narcissist. You can act like it, and you can put out those behaviors. You can be that person if you make yourself be that person, but you won't get fulfillment from it. You won't get any kind of happiness, and you won't be able to recognize who you're dealing with. You're not going to be able to vet her out for being a good long-term prospect if that's what you're trying to do, because that involves making a human connection, because making that connection with that person creates this, and creating an emotional experience for them where they're high desire, high intensity. It requires some empathy and being able to recognize whether or not they're having that experience or not. And it's that experience and that emotional buy-in that it will drive through all the other traits. She could have all the green flags in the world and none of the red ones. But if she doesn't have that emotional buy-in and that connection with you, and you're not connected to her enough to even notice because you're too goal-oriented, and maybe she's too goal-oriented too, because she's thinking transactionally as well, right? Well, none of it will matter. Her green flags and lack of red flags won't matter because she won't have the emotional buy-in to drive her into a deep state of desire for you. Her instincts may want to push her there, but if she cock blocks them, okay, with her behavior and her paradigm and way of thinking that she's been conditioned to have, and if you cock block yourself by not being able to create this experience for her, you see what I'm saying? You can't even see it. You won't even be able to see it. You're going to be in your own damn way. And how do you have a fun experience with somebody if you're constantly weighing out, right? Like almost like in a Ben Franklin list, pros, cons list when you're dealing with some girl. You can't, all right? You can't even see her for who she really is. How can you protect yourself? How can you enjoy it? You're hindering yourself. And that's why the dating market sucks for you. You got to stop worrying about the goals. All right. Here's an interesting question. So, what do you suggest for those who can't connect with girls naturally? They got to calculate a process or they might not win. Stop worrying about winning. That's the first thing I suggest. If you, this is funny. This is good. I'm glad you asked this question though, bro. So, listen. There's a Patrice O'Neal skit, and guys, I love that guy. He's my favorite. He red pilled me before red pill was a thing. All right, I was already on track, but anyway, he talks about this skit and he talks about how to win, and then he refers to an old movie, War Games, and it's like they're playing. It's War Games is this computer simulation, and there's in many ways. Go look it up, okay? But the computer says, that it's some game they're trying to win. I don't remember what it was. Checkers. I don't remember. And, but the computer says the only way to win is not to play the game. That's how. How do you win? You win by not playing the game. You win by cutting through all that bullshit. Stop trying to win first. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you don't set boundaries and protect yourself from harm. You let some girl walk on you or take your money or, you know what I mean? Or jerk you around or stand you up or whatever because you didn't handle setting the date properly or didn't. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean don't have game and just walk around like a dope. Okay. But you're not playing her fucking game. That's how you win. That's how you win. Yeah, dude. Yeah. If you guys aren't on Patrice O'Neal shit, he's all over. There's all over YouTube. He passed away. Rest in peace. A long time ago. He is my favorite comedian to date. One of my favorite comedians, I would say. I mean, it's tough because I got a few that I like, but when it comes to like sexual marketplace kinds of humor, clearly my favorite. And the dude had a really good game, actually. Oh, yeah. Watching from Ghana. Dude, I want to go to Ghana. I would love to go. Love to go to Africa and check it out. That'd be a badass trip. So thanks. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. All right. So the only way to win is not to play the game, dude. That's the thing is you take yourself out of the game. If you're playing everybody else's game, whose frame are you in? Whose rules are you playing by? Right? Who's making the rules? She's probably making them. The marketplace is probably making them, right? So you win by taking yourself out of it. You decide what it is that you want, despite what everybody else is doing. And then you figure out how to make that happen. Now, you're asking me this question. What if I can't connect with girls naturally? But you can, though. You can. There's something that's happening though that's getting in the way. That's where we work on your skills, man. That's what the skills are to work on. The skills aren't there when I teach it anyway. The skills are not there to have you play their game because you'll lose that game. You'll never be good enough. You'll never be good enough. That's how the game is rigged. All right. You're always going to be, there's always a greener grass somewhere else. All right. And you know who she has sex with? Not that guy. She has sex with a guy who just doesn't care. And oftentimes that guy's just too stupid to care. That's why these losers and stupid people get laid all the time, because they're just too dumb to care. They're too dumb to even notice. And sometimes they're very selfish in that regard too. You know what I mean? And that ends up being a good time because you take all this pressure off this event because they're not trying to win anything. They're just having a good time on their own terms. And then what happens? She wants to be along for the ride. She's tired of playing a game with somebody where she's trying to weigh out a win or a loss. What do we got here? Thanks for the super, buddy. I appreciate it. I personally dislike when women say that a guy has to impress her on a date. I don't think that's the purpose of a date. No, it isn't. And so how do you handle that, right? Guy needs to impress me on a date. You know what I mean? I just laugh at that. Well, I hope you're impressed. That's all I have to say about that. You know what I mean? I wear just a I hope you like this ball cap I wore for you, just for you on this special date. I'm trying to impress you. It's like, who gives a shit? If you don't give a shit, she's going to stop giving a shit. You understand how they follow your frame most of the time, even if it's to your own demise. So let's say what happens. Guy's playing the game, all right? Oh, she wants me to impress her. Well, you got your simps and your betas, right? They're gonna try to plan this whole thing out, make it super impressive. Okay, and then that's a losing proposition because now they're qualifying to her and they become unattractive to her no matter what happens. And it changes the whole mental paradigm into a transactional thing, right? Because he's playing her game. He's playing by the rules of the game instead of playing his own game. Or he goes the other way. I've listened to red pill content. I'm not going to play her game. I'm going to be extra unimpressive. Right. You're still playing the fucking game, dude. You see it? It's like when some teenager is like mad at their parents and then just does the opposite of what their parents say. They're still being controlled by the parents. It's just inversely. You know what I mean? They're still in it. And that's you guys, a lot of you guys. It's like, I'm not going to play this game. I'm going to be not impressive. I'm going to have shitty photos of myself on the dating apps because they got to see me for me. Like, I'm not going to try to make a connection with her because if she doesn't desire me, then there's no genuine desire. And come on, you guys. Come on, dude. You can't be having any fun. You can't be. There's no way that's fun. Right? Stop playing the game, dude. Some girl's like, oh, I want a man to impress me on a date. I'll be like, oh, damn. That'll be for that'll be for that next guy where I'm just meeting you up at the bar. I don't know about impressing, but I'm gonna be here if you'd like to meet up. I don't know about impressing. Why don't you just come over? We'll see how impressive it is. Like if you stop giving a shit and that doesn't mean that you try to go the opposite. That doesn't mean you try to go, an impressor. You do you. I'm going to have some fun. Would you like to come along for the fun? If not, I'm going to have fun anyway. And chances are somebody else is going to want to come along for that. and it ain't going to be you. You can worry about being impressed while the next girl, who's probably prettier than you, is going to worry about having a good time. Hey, right? And so that's what it is. You take yourself out of that. But if you're having trouble connecting, man, that tells me there's one or two problems. Okay. You can't connect naturally. So you got inner game things going on. And that means that you are nervous, or you're in your own head, or you're too busy playing the game. You're too busy protecting yourself. You're over analyzing. There's all kinds of things that could be happening. Probably that's what's going on. And then the other part is you have to learn social skill sets in order to make that connection. If it's not natural for you, that's okay. Here's the thing for you guys, it's not natural for you. It's good. That's fine. That's good. Don't worry about what it is. Just ask, how can I use it? Right? Remember that? So if you have trouble with those connections, good. Here's why that's good. All right. Average, Chadlet, okay, who does okay with women, started on some soccer thing in high school, wasn't good enough to make it through college on his sports abilities, meets some cute girl from high school, dates around, gets drunk a few times at frat parties, and then marries her. That guy, whatever, okay? His social skills are naturally better than you. Let's pretend. All right. The cool kid had a natural ability that you didn't have. By the way, I was never the cool kid. I had to learn the shit too. All right. So I wasn't the natural. Okay. I seem natural now. I'm very natural now. But when I was younger, I certainly wasn't. All right. I had to learn the shit. It's a curse of the high IQ. Okay. Used to use an Aaron Cleary book title. Go buy his book, The Curse of the High IQ. One of the curses is that you can see things other people can't. Now, some of you guys are just dumb and not socially calibrated. No offense. That's just, so don't be arrogant and be like, it's because I'm smarter than everybody. That's why I can't get girls. Like, nah, not necessarily. Okay. It's but a lot of times though, it can be that, which is that you can see how ridiculous all this shit is and you have a hard time participating. All right. But that's because you're too busy looking at it going, do I play this game or do I stay completely out instead of playing your own game? You know what I mean? Change the rules, make the rules yours, But yeah. And so if you struggle, here's the good news. So the Chadlet, he had better skills than you naturally, right? But because of that, he got his more or less sexual problem kind of solved. Now, he has a happy life and he got blessed. Most of the time, and this is just based on statistics, that's not the case. He finds himself divorced or whatever, just in an unhappy situation. He don't have the skills to get himself out of it. And he got what he wanted growing up more or less naturally. So he thinks he's arrogant. He thinks he's better than all these people who would need my pickup course, for example. That motherfucker needs my course more than you guys. He doesn't even know it. That's that unconscious incompetence. A little bit of competency is a dangerous thing because it makes you comfortable. And so comfort kills. It prevents you from getting better. So guess what, man? If you can't connect with a girl naturally, good. Because that means here's the average dude. You're down here, you're having trouble. But that means that this guy, he's not going to fucking train anything to get any better. Okay? There's no catalyst for that. And he's probably arrogant about it because our reproductive value as men unconsciously is something that is an existential threat or fear. All right. There's an existential fear every man has of not being able to mate and not being considered mateable. Every man on earth, it goes down to your core. It's right there with the fear of death. And with those types of fears, this is why guys don't train how to fight either. They avoid and have cognitive dissonance on problems that might arise with those things. They want to pretend. They'd rather pretend they're good at something. And so Chadlet would rather pretend he's great with women and give out shitty advice to his friends at the bar as he goes home to his wife that doesn't want to bang him. Yeah, she didn't. She did back in college, but now 10 years in and she can't figure it out, right? Okay. That's what Chadlet does. You started here. You suck right now. You suck with women. That's okay. That's good. That's good news. Because what that means is you can learn skills. And when you start learning skills, if this guy started learning skills, he would do really well. And sometimes I get those guys in my courses or in my consults too. They're not so arrogant. They realize, hey, there is a problem here. I was pretty good. I was pretty average, but man, I just not get what I want. What can I do? Those guys love it, right? All day. You being down here means you have an opportunity to really get yourself to a skill point where you can have a level of happiness and enjoyment with your dating life that most people will never even realize that they could have. That's the opportunity you have right now. So that's the good news. So the first thing is stop playing the game and stop comparing yourself to other people that have some natural abilities you don't. And look at that as a curse rather than a blessing. And then go learn the skills because you're going to, okay. I'm going to plug my course now. I have to because it closes Friday. And if I reach too many people, which people are signing up every day, I haven't even looked at the numbers right now. But that's where it can start at. All right. It's the Pickup Skills for the Busy Man course. Click in the description. There's a link. Click on it. Purchase the course. You'll have over 20 plus hours of these skills. And then you and I will talk off this platform where we can have real conversations about how to get those skills and practice them and get them to a level. That's an answer, starting with that. Now, the frame and seduction mastery mastermind group, that is a year-long thing where you can do this for a year, get this skill dialed in. So Chadlet was here, you're here. Chadlet doesn't even recognize you anymore. All right. Cause you're living a life that he can't even imagine. And that's what's in your future if you want it. So that's good news, man. I'm glad I couldn't have planted that question if I tried. That's a great question applying to the topic because that's so important. That's one of my bullet points here for our talk today. How do you fix it? You fix it. One way is to, first stop playing the game. Stop being so goal oriented. I mean, sure, have your goals. I'm not saying don't have them. I'm not saying completely abandon them. I'm not trying to curse you into binary thinking. Okay. But you have your goals and the things you want. Cool. Now set those aside and just start having a good time and meeting people and start practicing skills and making connections with other human beings. Right. It starts there. When you can do that, make connections with other human beings and have social interactions and feel comfortable doing that. Now it's super easy to get a girl to know you, like you, find you attractive, follow you, sleep with you, want to do it again. Okay. It's really easy to make that happen when you have the skills in making connections with other people. All right. If you approach it like they're things and objects and stuff to measure and not people, and the skills you're approaching as techniques rather than as ways of communicating, you're gonna not do as well, and you're not going to be as happy doing it. And that's why there's a lot of struggling out there. And that's why, like from my yesterday's talk, the lack of going out there and actually doing the action, that's why people avoid it, because it's not happy, it's not comfortable, it's not fun, because they're taking it too seriously. They're too goal oriented. It's affecting their inner state, every bad thing or perceived bad thing that happens, instead of just not giving a fuck and going out and having a good time. If I get blown out, I think it's fucking hilarious. I do. I laugh. I think it's hilarious. It's a good story for me. All right. It doesn't bother me one bit. You know what I mean? I have plenty of times where things go well. And I've had plenty of times in my past. I have all the receipts in the world that things go well for me. I don't, and that's from skill development, SMV development, right? And then having those opportunities. And so that's what you want to do. That's so stop trying to change the world, okay? And stop being so damn goal oriented and making people into a thing or into a tool to get you someplace, and start looking at people as people and start connecting with them on a real level. You're going to have a much better time. Okay. You'll have a better time than somebody who's treating people like objects and then, railing through them to get their notch count up or whatever that is. All right. That you'll have a better time with a handful of girls that are great partners for you over time than some guy who sleeps with 100 girls or something in a 6 months to a year and is treating them like objects. All right. And if you don't believe me, look at all these guys who do the pickup thing and go that route, end up in relationships. Why? Why do they end up in relationships if it's so great just railing through a bunch of random girls? They end up in relationships because they want to have better experiences. That's why, and a better connection with another human being. Right? That's why, whether they admit it or not. So cut through the bullshit, be smarter than them, and start from there. All right. And this pickup skills, very low cost to entry thing compared to a lot of things I do is going to help you a lot, because it is going to help you tailor your game to yourself, not just learn a method of somebody else's. Well, I do this method or that method or this guy's method or that guy's method. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at some more things. All right. Okay. Another reason that the dating market is broken, and it's a game you don't have to play, is stupid expectations from the stupid internet. All right. Let's talk about how many stupid expectations are out there. This affects women the most, but it affects women and then it affects you, because then you have to date and deal with these women, right? It's like you can get on the internet and have tons of dudes simp for you if you're a woman, you know? I can create that same effect as a dude. All I have to do is take some cleverly angled, photos with my shirt off, whatever, some cool guy pics, which I'll do sometimes for marketing, set it up in the right profile. There's certain apps out there for dating apps that if I get on that, it's a fucking shit show flood of women. And there's certain guys out there who have a certain look. Basically, if you can pull off douchebag game, it's great. Like if I want to just sort of be that douchebag for a minute, I'll have tons of dumb sluts in my shit, right? None of them are probably good matches for anything long term. So it's not the game I play anymore. Not that I'm only looking for long term, but I just would rather have a better quality of experiences, right? So I don't signal that way, but I mean, I have friends do it, and you can do it to start off with if you're curious, and if you have that right look. If you have the right look, you can do it. It's just you just look like the dude who they can have inconsequential sex with and not feel bad about it. That's it. And guess what? Your inbox will blow up just like a chick's. I mean, maybe not just like a chick's, but you'll get a taste of it anyway. All right. But either way, it's all bullshit, and it's people using each other, and it's not really real connections with anybody. Why do we keep going back to that? Because I know a lot of you guys are interested in having like quality experiences and even getting into like relationships. Some of you guys want that girlfriend or whatever, right? Well, how do you can't compete with a global sexual marketplace that has an inflated view of the world, if that's what is being presented as reality. And if you can't compete with that by playing that game, you see what I mean? But what you can do is, well, let me correct that. Very few people can compete with that. But I would even argue, even some of these dudes who present like I don't know, fucking an Uber G on the internet have trouble with their women if they don't execute their game skills, right? It's not all it's cracked up to be. And so playing that game in that matrix, if you will, with the global sexual marketplace and being, playing by those rules, you're going to lose. But how come that girl though will look away from Instagram and look away from all the chads and the opportunities and the DMs and the attention and focus on her relationship? Well, some of it's because that's who she is. All right. So let's not take that out of the equation. Right. But some of that is a lot of girls will formulate, they're very influenced, just like we all are, but women, especially with dating, are very influenced by their peer groups and by their outside influences of what's going on. And and they have to sort of have a framework around it. But if your framework is that stuff is lower value women and that stuff's bullshit and what we're experiencing is better, and then you have that real human to human connection that cuts through all the simping and all the chads that she's just decided to sleep with or bang one day in her past, or all the things, her toxic ex and all the bullshit and all the game playing, and you are just like unapologetically real, you don't give a shit, and she can just have inconsequential good time with you without drama. And if she brings drama, it's handled because you know how to handle that shit and handle her, and you don't participate in it because you're not playing by her rules. You get what I'm saying? You get this emotional buy-in, you get you get a depth of frame, and that's what's going to cause her neuroreceptors and all the things in her brain that, guess what, is wired to make a connection with someone she perceives as the alpha dude, not alpha because he has cool pictures of him on the internet, but alpha because of her feelings and experiences she's having with him, where she feels dominated by him and she feels under his leadership. You know what I mean? She feels that she has that desire for that guy, right? That's an emotional thing that transcends the screens. And you can create that for a chick. What happens? You're the dude and you cut through all the bullshit. Doesn't matter what everybody else is offering on the internet. That's how you win. Now, some women are going to turn away from those things, have been training their neurosystem to be less responsive to those things, and have training their systems to be responsive to the fake internet world. Okay. And those are girls that you don't choose, right? Those are girls that you don't continue down a path with. But even these girls who are all on the internet, even these girls with some notoriety and all this stuff, let's think of your Instagram girl, all right? Somebody's banging that girl and you don't know who he is. Someone's banging that girl and you don't see him in any of her photos necessarily if she's getting the attention. We're assuming Instagram girl, right? Which is a small subset of women, okay? That's not even normal. But let's just use it as an example for a minute. She is getting, or at least at different times of her life, has gotten her sexual desire needs met from a dude who's has nothing to do with that world, right? And he probably didn't give a shit about it, and he probably didn't play the game. Okay. And so that's what it is. All right. So stop. And then for you dudes, all of this content that's designed here to help you, that's good. There's a lot of stuff out there that gets you over analyzing, overthinking, and having a ridiculous view of how women are in general, and having a ridiculous view of what you think you should be looking for in a chick. And all that is supporting your, allowing you to rationalize you not doing well with women, right? Because, oh, these girls are like this and this, right? Okay. It's like some of you guys are looking for the perfect woman that you'll never find. All right. And so that's your skewed view of the world based on the global sexual marketplace. It's not just women that are guilty of this shit. You guys are too. Okay. We've all been guilty of it. And so you got to sidestep that, recognize that that's not real. Okay. And then hold that framework, because when you are having and creating really exciting experiences for women, and for yourself. She gets an emotional buy-in to want to have those experiences with you. She gets an attachment. She gets an addiction. And it doesn't matter what the fuck everybody else is saying then. Okay? It doesn't matter what the internet has. The only thing that matters is whether you and her are a good match then, and whether you and her are capable of maintaining that match over time. That's all that matters at that point. You cut right through it. But you got to set the rules, and that's having your own frame. It starts with skills in order to do that. Skills of making that connection like a human being and get rid of your own bullshit. My mindset course helps you get rid of your own bullshit. The pickup course that's out, it's going to help you make the initial connection and become socially calibrated, aware, and start having fun. The frame course is going to help you go deeper and have really good abilities to influence others. That'll help your social circles, your business, your impact on the world, as well as women. That's why I did it in that order. Okay. I have a reason behind things I do that goes beyond just trying to like grift some internet money. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. Of course, I want to expand this stuff and reach more people. And that's the money's for. It's good to make money. I want you guys to make money too, with whatever your passion is. But there's ways that could have grifted this and held back information and given off less things of value. I could certainly be doing videos that are less valuable that would get more views for people who don't have the patience to listen to a talk like this. But that's not going to influence and help people on a real level. And so I am going to I have some plans with other channels to do some shorter form, more entertaining videos, higher production value, just to get the word out. I'll never want to stop doing these long form talks with you guys where I can interact with you guys, right? And help you out without, it's not about charging you money. It's just about getting you guys on the right track, This is a good question. How can your courses help women? So right now they can't. So I apologize if you're a woman who would like to be helped by my courses. Just because right now I don't have, I can suggest a one-on-one consult, but I'm high demand, high price for that right now. So I'm harder to access with that. I do have some stuff because I have had, they've come on here. They've come on this chat before. I've had women as my clients before and success stories, some really good success stories. And it's funny because the women that I've helped are getting exactly what they want, and they fit like, at least on paper or prior to, they could fit that paradigm of what guys say, don't ever hook up with them, right? Like I've had single moms, right? I've had the post-wall women, and oh God, and don't ever be with those girls, These girls get exactly what they want. They're super happy. Know why? Because they bring value to the guy's life that they're with. And then the guy doesn't care if she has a kid or two. You know what I mean? And that's fine. It's fine. If it's the right guy, he doesn't care. I'm not as draconian about that shit anyway. You know what I mean? If a guy's looking at a bunch of women that are, kind of not very valuable and very entitled, very arrogant, and don't put themselves together well, and all these things, and he's got some hot chick who, is a compliment to his life and is a good match, but she just happens to have a kid. It's not a hard choice to make for that dude. The only thing I recommend is if you're a dude in that position, you just take your time. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. Sometimes women with kids, they want to rush their relationship and get you hitched into responsibilities before, the 6-month mark. And that is a no-go. All right. But yeah, I've helped a lot of women out, and there is, as things build, the bigger I can build it. So the best thing I can say is just get the word out, help me out. Okay. Help me out with the likes, help me out with the shit. Make sure you're subscribed. I get more people that, get, especially when I do like a roll zero thing or something like that. Those guys aren't subscribing to my stuff. You guys got to subscribe and just, throw something in there, these little super chats like this one. I appreciate it. All these little things, man, this helps get the word out. The bigger I can be, the more flexibility I'll be able to have, the more material I can get, and then I can start doing some stuff. I will do some stuff and see what kind of results and interest I get from women. I've had a lot of women ask, but not at the scale though that the guys have been asking and needing help. So if I were to do a course for women, I might have 10 people show up, and that would be a tough to build something on that. You know what I mean? So having a great attitude blows out the competition with women. I'm under child, no kids, but yeah, you're 120 pounds and no kids. Are you hot? DM me a pic. I'll rate you 1 to 10. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Just mess with you. 100, I mean, yeah. Like, how old are you? This is fun. We can do this in the chat. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? You can just tell me. Nobody knows who T Diamond 00 is, so it's not a rude question, right? But if you're put together, attractive, sounds like you're not being obese is like nowadays, man or woman, actually not being obese is like you're already over halfway there as far as being an attractive person. You know what I mean? And so, and you turn 30 in April. Okay, sounds like you're a fucking catch. So what's your problem? What's your problem? What's wrong with you? What kind of toxic shit do you do that you're not telling me about? No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. It's hard though, because guys are showing up like shit too. And I do realize that. And so that's a big part of why I have these talks. If a guy is trying to game everything and not making a real connection and too worried about protecting himself and acting like a dickhead, I'm not saying don't protect yourself, but I'm saying if you're good at this shit, you don't have to worry. You're not going to let some BPD chick take you for a ride. If you're good with your game, you're just not going to do it. You're going to go, wait a second. She's being absolutely batshit crazy. We're about 2.5 months in. I'm sorry, this isn't going to work. Right? That's how that goes for guys who have their shit together. Guys who don't have their shit together, myself included. So I'm not shaming any of you. I've been in the toxic relationships. Each and every time I let that shit go too far. Each and every time it was a problem with this guy that got me in that situation with that person who was a problem. You know what I mean? And yeah. So you're protecting yourself. So you could follow this advice too. So this is inner game stuff. Actually, you know what could help you? The mindset course is pretty gender neutral. I do talk as if I'm speaking to males, but all of the exercises there, it's not a dating relationship thing. It's really more about this. And all of these things that you're talking about, you're not the only one that's scared of being hurt and abandoned. Most of these guys, that's the same thing with them too. They just don't want to admit it because they're dudes, right? And that's okay. It's okay. But if you show up, when I say not okay, so when I say let me describe protecting yourself a little bit, because I don't want to fucking make guys go out there and just be like super bad targets for toxic women. All right, so what, or a girl like yourself going out there and being a bad target for a toxic dude, right? We don't want that. So it's like the walk softly, carry a big stick thing. Okay, so I'm trained. All right, I'm trained to fight. I'm trained to do bad shit to bad people if it comes down to it. I have a military background. That was my job. Okay. Even if I'm not in surgical tip-top mission ready condition, all right, or fighting shape per se, I'm still good. All right, because using a tool or tactical skills, I have enough conditioning to get me through what my strategy and tactical skills and tools and equipment or weaponry, right, in those terms, could get me out of. We're talking now, of course, violent scenarios. Okay, so I can't, and I have awareness skills, and I'm not stupid, right? So I don't walk around afraid of people trying to kill me, get me, this and that and the other. But I'm not stupid either. I'm not going into, like, cool, I'm going to stroll through a crack alley over here and, this burned down buildings in Detroit, with shiny ass Rolex and just fucking with no firearm and, just start getting in people's faces and creating a problem for myself. Like, I'm not an idiot. Okay. So when I say, I'm not afraid, and I don't walk around having to protect me in that sense. Like I don't have this, oh, is this guy? What's going on? No, dude, I know. You know what I mean? Give you a great little story. I had some went to a cigar lounge where I knew the owner. Had some 60 something year old guy trying to pick a fight with me. All right. Now, first of all, like most of the time, not all the time, I'm not huge. I'm not 7 feet tall, but I'm pretty wide, and it's I don't look like the guy that you would want to pick a fight with, compared to most guys out there, right? He obviously had something wrong with him, and he definitely had we could call it more or less a death wish, right? Kind of like suicide by cop. I'm going to pick the guy that can definitely kick my ass and create a problem. And this guy was an older dude. I don't know, he gets talking to me and telling me all about how he's a Navy SEAL. Now, I've worked with some Navy SEALs. I'm not a Navy SEAL. I've worked with some SEALs. I've been around enough and have enough of military background to know that this dude is lying. Now, I don't care. I'm not here trying to prove anything to anybody. I'd rather him, just keep his little place though over there. And so he's getting, all about this and that, telling me this stuff. And I just go, hey, man, I know what you're saying, but that's not how it works. I know because I have a background and I know that that's not how it works. Essentially was the gist of the conversation. He goes on this tangent about, I don't know who I'm messing with and how he could, fuck me up 10 ways to Sunday. And he's going, yeah, he's doing his hands like close to me, like, kind of close, not so close where I got to put him on the ground, but, he's just doing this. Now, here's the thing. If I was afraid of getting hurt, and this is applying to your being hurt and abandoned thing, okay? If I was afraid, okay, I would have had to posture because guys posture when they're afraid. All right. Go look at any work by David Grossman. He talks about responses to threats. All right. You got posturing is one thing, fighting, flight, and then submission, where basically you possum and you hope the problem goes away. And whenever you watch a conflict, those are the four things that a dude will, or anybody really will do. Okay. They'll actually fight. Now, fighting is actually fighting. All right. Fighting isn't talking and being big and telling somebody what they're going to do and all that shit. That's not fighting. All right. That's the gorilla going. All right. I kind of did that a little bit too well. I feel like could really literally put me in a zoo. I don't know. I feel like that is actually how that works. Anyway, when a gorilla does that, he's not kicking anybody's ass. He's just trying to look big, right? He doesn't want to use that power or he's afraid to use it to put himself in a conflict. But either way, it's a fear-based thing, right? And so, yeah, that's one of the books. And On Combat's good too. There's some stuff in there that's stupid, but most of it's good. We'll say at 90%. Good. But anyway, so yeah, and a lot of these, okay, the 20 to 21-year-old dudes, like when we're like a bunch of infantry dudes just beating each other up, right? Back in those days, that's not real fighting. That's more posturing. That's kind of like going to the gym and boxing each other, not really trying to kill each other. You know what I mean? All right. So that's more like practicing the fight, away. And it's a little posturing that goes on there. But I mean, we're talking fight. Like you're going to hurt somebody, right? But anyway, this dude, if I was afraid, I would have to posture. I would have to respond in one of those ways. There's literally nothing this dude could do to hurt me, because if he goes and moves to hurt me, I have complete control of the situation and he's not going to be able to. We'll put it like that. All right. It's not somebody who's a trained, like, let's say a trained fighter, jiu-jitsu expert doing that stuff where, okay, they could probably hurt me if they're close enough and they do stuff. And now I'm going to have to react to that. Right. This is a person. He's an old man with a mental problem who's a little bit drunk. And so he's doing this stuff. And I just look at him and I go, hey, man, why would you do any of that? Well, I do this and that and the other. I go, yeah. Okay. Well, why? Well, I mean, I could clear out this whole room if I wanted to. Yeah, but why? Well, why? Why would you do that? He's like, I'm like, look, we're just relaxing, having a cigar, having a drink. Why? Why are you so upset? Just relax, man. Have a good time, right? He's like, I don't know. I just got upset. Well, yeah, seems like you got some things to deal with. And he ended up getting really sad and stupid and ends up buying me a drink and all this shit. You know what I mean? That's all it took. I didn't have to punch this guy in the fucking face, put him down. I didn't need to do all that shit. You know what I mean? That would have been like, it'd been like, that would have been really bad. Like, that would have been bad for me to do that. Get police involved and having to explain myself. Like, for what? For a non threat? Anyways, if you have skills, why could I handle that situation? Now, you put somebody in front of me, though, that's a real threat. I have to handle that a little bit differently, maybe because they could be a real threat, right? And so now there's some other things. But if you have skills, what can a girl do to hurt you? Nothing. How? You set your boundaries, you calibrate your emotions, you open yourself to learn and make a connection so you can tell if she's lying to you, which is where this happened. Okay. It's frustrating because you're lied to constantly. Yes, because you're right. You are lied to. So let me just break from that little tangent real quick to tell you, you are lied to constantly. As a woman, you are bullshitted. You're lied to. And that sucks. You're lied to by men. You're lied to by women. You know what I mean? You have to step outside of all that bullshit. I mean, us as guys were lied to as well. But some of the biggest lies are told to women about how to handle their dating lives. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. A lot of like, this is more recent, a lot of female friends that I've had, like somebody will break up, right? Go through a breakup that they're pretty upset about. And all of the girls, not mattering whether they were single and total 304s or whether they're, pretty normal or whether they had boyfriends and even some of the married ones will tell that girl to go bang some random dude as quickly as she can to get over the pain and problems and struggles she's having from the breakup. That's just one example of the absolute lie that women are told. Because as if having another notch and throwing another dick inside you for therapy is going to help you as a woman get over an attachment that you have with somebody. What that does is it makes you have less of an ability to attach to men in the future. That's the lie. A lot of the things that you're told as a woman, that women are told, guys who, right, are lies. And this is why the dating market is hard, because of the lies that are being told. So that sucks. Okay. I wish there were more resources out there for women. The reason there are not is because of the market, though. And it's not, and I know, because I look at this. I've thought about starting a channel, and comically calling it something funny and keeping it a little less serious, but also keeping some information out there and not having real information, though, that does tell the truth about shit. And I haven't, because I know that the interest is going to be low. Most women are not like this young lady here, this young, hot, not even 30-year-old lady watching my stuff right now. um, most women are not like this person, like you, okay, where they're looking for these answers. You represent a small percentage. That's good, though. Okay, that's going to make you better than your peers. It's just frustrating because that means also you're going to be alone for a bit. You're going to feel alone, even if you find a guy that you like and you're sort of banging. You're not going to be like super happy with that guy because he may not be somebody who has the awareness that you have. You got to find somebody who is questioning these things just like you, and that a guy who can step outside of it and actually create that framework in a relationship as a man for you to be in that relationship with them and have that input and have a life that's better than what all of these other people are fucking doing. That's what success looks like for a woman. All right. So you're already on the right track. If you're a chick, if you're a chick and you get offended and I say chick, then you need to reevaluate and just get back on track. Okay. It's not being offensive, but yeah, it's like just questioning these things as a start. You're going to run into, it's going to be hard. Girls think, because that's the lie, that they have all these options and all these dicks. Yeah, they have dick options. They don't have options of dudes who are going to be capable of not only being attractive and desirable, but capable of maintaining that in for the long term and having a good, healthy connection like two human beings are supposed to have, and having that in a non-toxic fashion, both exciting and euphoric and awesome without the toxic. That's what most guys, they don't have that. And then on top of that, have their shit together, not living in their mom's basement, not, so weak that they can't carry a fucking some brush that fell down in their yard in a storm or lift their own body weight or whatever, like so emotionally and physically and not resilient that they're just like not able to handle the least bit of stressors. These are guys out there. And so you guys, it's not hard for you to be a cut above what's out there. And for you girls, it is hard for you, unfortunately, to find a guy who is, and that does suck. But you'll find it. If you're looking for it and you see outside of it, you'll find it. The key is don't play the fucking game. If you're a girl listening, don't play the fucking game your girlfriends are playing. Because look at them. They're not fucking happy. They're not doing what they want. They all have their own problems. Every single one of them has some shit that you wouldn't want. And if you wouldn't replace your life with theirs, and and it doesn't not just replace your life, but the life that you envision for yourself and would want with theirs. Because that's the thing. You could be like lonely and dateless and going, I'm this hot chick who's no kids. How come I'm not hooking up with the right dude? And I know I could get laid, but I'm not finding the right guy for like something, right? Then you got girls who are in these relationships. You might feel sometimes I could replace this loneliness with that relationship they have. But the reality is, though, would you replace that relationship with your ideal relationship? The thing is, if you were in that relationship, that shit show that they have, it'd be maybe feel better for a few minutes or a few months, okay, than being lonely, but it won't feel better. It'll get old real quick and you'll end up in a breakup because it's not what you absolutely want, right? And so you got to keep your eye on the prize and on the goal. And save yourself. Don't put things in your vagina, okay? Unless it looks like things like dudes that aren't going to be good for you, okay? And go down that rabbit hole, all right? Be selective, all right? And you dudes, you be selective too, but don't be retarded, okay? Relax and have a good fucking time. The only thing that's missing, so many guys are listening right now going, dude, I have all this shit you're talking about, but I'm not doing well. Click the link below, take my fucking course. That's number one. We'll get you squared away because we'll have some fun and have fun doing it. But number two is if you don't do that or whatever the fuck, okay, relax, man. Start having fun. It's not about your goals, right? And so instead of showing up when girls are not seeing you for who you are, see that for the comedy that it is, okay? Instead of the rejection that you want to perceive it as, and taking it inside of yourself and being, frustrated with women and frustrated with this. And same here to my girl that's listening here. You're frustrated. Don't take that into your dates. All right. That guy gets a fresh start with you. Okay. And these guys should get a fresh start with you too. All right. All the shit that all the negative shit out there that's happened to you that you also consume fucks your game up because it puts you in a mental point of origin of negative bias when you're dealing with a chick, or if you're a girl dealing with a dude. And if you've been kicked around the sexual marketplace as a girl, man, the best thing you can do is be like feminine. What's feminine mean? Making somebody feel good to be around you. That's really what the essence of femininity, you know? And so being that, you know what I mean? Being that as a woman, being feminine, guys look for that feminine chick. She makes people feel good, but she does it with boundary. You know what I mean? She doesn't, she's not sexually signaling. She's not like, look at my boobs. You feel good. She's just like, I mean, she might look hot or whatever, but that's not it. It's just that she's pleasant, fun to be with on the big 5 traits: agreeableness. Okay. Women that are more agreeable are attractive, and you can be strong and have good boundaries and be an agreeable person. All right. Look up agreeableness as the big 5. All right. Big 5 traits. That's what you guys should be looking for in a chick, because that's feminine. It's femininity. And and girls are being trained that they need to be strong and independent, and that being agreeable is weak, and that somehow makes them less of a woman. And feminism and all that stuff is going to point you in that direction. Don't do it. And guys don't pick that shit, right? And when a girl acts like that, don't tolerate it. But I say don't tolerate it. Don't be an angry person about it. Have fun with it. Why are you acting like that? We're trying to have fun here. Just relax. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You know what I mean? And hold your frame. Don't play that game. Well, I got to go. Fuck. It's a lot of stuff here. I got to be on John MLD as a course. I'm too late. You can't enroll. I'm going to talk about idealized isolation over there. What do we got here? I am one of those guys with most of the places, but couldn't put it together. Thanks, man. Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Fuck, I know you. I wasn't even read your name, bro. I'm like just reading your shit. Yeah. Ernesto you are in my shit, and I'm glad to have you. Your input is great. Guys are doing fucking great over there too. That mastermind program is going to be opening up again soon. If you want a taste of some stuff, yeah, dude, it'll be good to see you there too, bro. I know a lot of you guys are going to jump on the webinar here soon, and that's cool. We're going to do that a little bit, but yeah, for the rest of you, just jump on the fucking pickup course. It'll be fine. When the mastermind thing opens, because I have limited seating for that, because if I have too many people in a Zoom call, I can't get through questions, and it's a shit show. And so, but we're recalibrating here. Got to get with my admin staff on that and see if we're ready to open the mastermind again for limited seating. But we do have the pickup program. It's a much lower cost anyway, and we're a ton of stuff there to get you started. So if you haven't done it yet, I mean, I'm closing enrollment when I get to too many people or we reach Friday. Okay. My female friend and any female friends that are here, just DM me somewhere or email me if you want some additional help. We can try to figure something out. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out, because I know that I don't have a lot of resources for you yet, unfortunately. But you can keep watching my stuff. I know it's geared towards the dudes, but I mean, hell, my female assistant really likes editing and listening to my stuff, because she's like, well, it gives me that perspective so I can deal with my boyfriend, and it's good. It makes her a better person, and it gets her what she wants to. So anyways, thanks, Amy. Thanks for jumping on again. I want to see you in my course. All right. Before I close it. So click that link below, and I'll catch you next time.